Law 28. Leverage AI to build small empires. You no longer need a massive organization to build influence. You need systems. In the industrial era, scale required factories. In the corporate era, scale required departments. In the AI era, scale requires intelligent orchestration. A single individual with structured AI leverage can now build what once required teams of 50. Power is no longer about size. It is about architecture. The rise of the solo architect. Artificial intelligence has lowered operational barriers dramatically. Today, one person can produce multi-format content, analyze data patterns, manage automated marketing, build subscription ecosystems, operate digital communities, develop structured intellectual assets. The gatekeepers have weakened. Small, structured ecosystems can outperform large but rigid institutions. What is a small empire? A small empire is not about ego or domination. It is about controlled influence within a defined domain. It includes recognizable authority, structured audience base, recurring economic model, independent distribution channels, automated operational systems. Scale does not require millions. It requires structure and stability. AI as workforce multiplier. AI tools can function as research assistants, drafting collaborators, data analysts, design optimizers, workflow managers, predictive advisors. Used strategically, AI compresses team roles into tool-driven workflows. The architect remains human. The execution scales digitally. The power of niche domination. Large markets are saturated. Strategic individuals dominate niches. Niche focus allows clear identity positioning, strong tribal alignment, efficient content targeting, higher perceived expertise. When you dominate a niche, your influence becomes concentrated and defensible. Concentration increases authority. Systems before expansion. Empire building begins with system design. Content architecture. Distribution strategy. Monetization structure. Data tracking. Community engagement. Without systems, growth creates chaos. With systems, growth compounds. Economic independence. Small empires provide revenue diversification, brand autonomy, reduced institutional dependency, strategic freedom. Economic independence strengthens negotiation power. Negotiation power strengthens authority. Reputation as infrastructure. Your intellectual consistency becomes foundation. If your ideas reinforce one another, align with core identity, build progressively, your ecosystem strengthens. Random output weakens empire structure. Structured output builds dominance. Ethical empire building. Building influence must avoid exploitation. Empires built on false promises, manipulative tactics, superficial value, collapse quickly. Sustainable small empires prioritize contribution, integrity, intellectual clarity, long-term trust. Trust is structural capital. AI era opportunity window. We're in an acceleration phase. AI capability continues expanding. Early adopters who design structured ecosystems now will benefit from compounding authority over time. Delay reduces first-mover advantage. Infrastructure built today strengthens tomorrow's positioning. The strategic insight. In 2026, you do not need size to gain power. You need structure. AI compresses operational requirements. Small, focused ecosystems outperform large, unfocused organizations. Build your domain. Define your niche. Design your systems. Leverage AI intelligently. Because in the algorithmic age, empires are no longer geographical. They're digital. And those who architect wisely dominate quietly. Reflective questions. What domain could you dominate structurally? Are you building a niche ecosystem or scattered presence? Have you integrated AI as workforce multiplier? Are your systems scalable beyond your daily effort? Small empires require clarity. Clarity requires discipline. Discipline creates power. Build wisely. Law 29. Partnerships are modern alliances. No empire rises alone. In ancient times, kings formed alliances to expand territory and protect influence. In industrial economies, corporations formed joint ventures to access capital and distribution. In the AI age, partnerships create accelerated leverage. Collaboration is not weakness. It is strategic multiplication. Those who build intelligent alliances scale faster than those who operate in isolation. The shift from competition to collaboration. Digital ecosystems are interconnected. Audiences overlap. Technologies integrate. Markets converge. Rigid competition limits growth. Strategic collaboration expands reach. Two aligned forces. Share visibility. Share credibility. Share resources. Share audience trust. When values align, growth compounds. The power of borrowed authority. When you partner with established experts, trusted institutions, respected communities, recognized platforms, you inherit partial authority. Association accelerates credibility. Credibility attracts opportunity. Opportunity strengthens influence. AI and collaborative expansion. Artificial intelligence enables seamless collaboration. Shared digital workflows. Cross-platform co-creation. Data-informed joint strategies. Automated coordination. Partnerships no longer require complex bureaucracy. They require alignment and structure. Strategic partnership criteria. Not all alliances strengthen power. Evaluate potential partnerships by value alignment, audience compatibility, ethical integrity, strategic complementarity. A misaligned alliance damages reputation. A well-designed alliance multiplies reach. Complementary strengths. Effective partnerships combine different skill sets, different networks, different perspectives. If both parties offer identical value, growth stagnates. Complementarity creates synergy. Synergy creates expansion. Risk distribution. Alliances distribute risk. Shared ventures reduce financial exposure, operational burden, market volatility. Resilience increases when responsibility is distributed intelligently. Tribal expansion. Partnerships expand tribes. When communities merge thoughtfully, influence widens. Shared messaging strengthens visibility. Shared values reinforce trust. Long-term versus opportunistic alliances. Short-term collaborations may generate spikes in visibility. Long-term alliances generate stability. Durable partnerships. Build institutional memory. Strengthen strategic positioning. Create recurring opportunities. Consistency compounds. Ethical foundation. Partnership must rest on transparency. Exploitative collaboration erodes trust. Sustainable alliances require clear expectations, mutual benefit, honest communication. Trust strengthens cooperation. Cooperation strengthens influence. The strategic insight. In 2026, isolation limits scale. Collaboration multiplies impact. Strategic partnerships accelerate growth faster than individual effort alone. But alliances must be intentional, not desperate. Choose carefully. Align deeply. Build mutually. Because modern power is networked. And networks, when structured intelligently, create influence far beyond individual capacity. Reflective questions. Are you building alliances strategically? Do your partnerships reinforce your positioning? Are you collaborating from strength or dependency? Does your network amplify your influence? Power today flows through networks. Build alliances wisely. Because alone you grow linearly. Together you expand exponentially. Deep Strategic Framework for Law 29. Alliance Architecture in the Age of AI. Modern alliances are not casual collaborations. They are structural leverage systems. In 2026, partnerships must be designed, not improvised. Below is a high-level alliance strategy framework that transforms casual networking into durable power infrastructure. The 5 layers of strategic alliance design. Keycap 1 Identity Alignment Layer Foundation. Before collaboration, clarify. Core values. Strategic mission. Ethical boundaries. Long-term positioning. Misaligned identity creates hidden friction. Test. If your partner's reputation appears beside yours publicly, does it strengthen or dilute your positioning? If dilution occurs, do not proceed. Identity compatibility precedes economic opportunity. Keycap 2 Complementary Capability Layer. Strong alliances combine different strengths. Map. Your strength. Partner strength. Synergy outcome. Authority. Distribution. Visibility scale. Data. Technology. Product innovation. Community. Capital. Expansion speed. Content. Platform. Monetization growth. If both parties bring identical assets, growth becomes linear. Complementarity creates exponential growth. Keycap 3 Resource Exchange Model. Every alliance must clarify. What is exchanged? What is protected? What is co-owned? Common exchange structures. Audience exposure. Revenue share. Co-branded products. Joint ventures. Data collaboration. Technology integration. Unclear exchange destroys trust. Structure prevents conflict. Keycap 4 Power Symmetry Assessment. Every alliance has power dynamics. Assess. Who controls distribution? Who controls data? Who controls branding? Who controls revenue systems? If one side holds excessive structural control, dependency risk increases. Strategic alliances require balance or clearly defined asymmetry with compensation. Keycap 5 Exit Strategy Planning. Strong partnerships begin with exit clarity. Define. Duration. Performance benchmarks. Renewal conditions. Intellectual property rights. Dispute resolution protocol. Clear exit pathways reduce emotional breakdown. Professional alliances require structural detachment. 2. The 4 types of modern strategic alliances. Keycap 1 Authority Alliances. Goal. Borrow credibility. Example structures. Co-authored publications. Joint webinars. Collaborative research. Expert panels. Impact. Accelerates reputation. Risk. Overdependence on borrowed authority. Keycap 2 Distribution Alliances. Goal. Access larger audiences. Example. Platform integration. Newsletter cross-promotion. Social amplification. Impact. Visibility growth. Risk. Algorithm dependency. Keycap 3 Infrastructure Alliances. Goal. build systems together. Example: shared AI tools, data collaboration, co-developed software, joint online academies. Impact: long-term structural dominance. Risk: ownership complexity. Keycap 4 capital alliances. Goal: financial leverage. Example: investors, strategic equity partnerships, revenue-sharing ventures. Impact: scaling acceleration. Risk: loss of autonomy. 3. The AI era advantage in partnerships. AI strengthens alliances through shared dashboards, predictive collaboration modeling, automated contract management, data transparency, performance analytics. Data-driven alliances outperform emotion-driven alliances. Measure everything. 4. Alliance risk matrix. Before committing, evaluate. Keycap 1 reputation risk. Could their future controversy harm your positioning? Keycap 2 operational risk. Can they deliver consistently? Keycap 3 strategic drift risk. Will this partnership pull you away from core identity? Keycap 4 dependency risk. Could this alliance weaken your autonomy? If more than 2 risks score high, redesign or decline. V. The 3 golden rules of strategic alliances. Rule 1. Never partner from desperation. Weak positioning invites exploitative alliances. Rule 2. Control your core assets. Never surrender data, intellectual property, or direct audience access carelessly. Rule 3. Protect your brand above revenue. Money can be recovered. Reputation cannot.
6.
Alliance compounding model. The strongest leaders build layered alliance networks. Authority partners. Technology partners. Distribution partners. Capital partners. Each strengthens the other. Over time, your network becomes a structural moat. Competitors must compete not against you, but against your ecosystem. 7. Psychological dimension. Alliances also influence perception. When aligned with respected partners, audiences subconsciously elevate your status. Association shapes identity. Identity shapes influence. Eight. Strategic insight. In the AI age. Individual brilliance is insufficient. Networked intelligence dominates. Power no longer belongs to isolated experts. It belongs to orchestrators of aligned ecosystems. Build alliances strategically. Protect autonomy. Balance power. Design systems. Because the strongest position in 2026 is not solitary dominance. It is intelligent interdependence. Law 30. Control the system, not just the outcome. Amateurs chase results. Strategists design systems. In the age of AI, outcomes are volatile. Algorithms change. Markets shift. Audience behavior fluctuates. Technologies evolve. If your power depends only on specific outcomes, views, revenue spikes, viral reach, you become reactive. But if you control the system that produces outcomes, you control long-term leverage. The illusion of outcome obsession. Most individuals focus on this month's income, today's engagement, one viral post, One big partnership. One promotion. These are outputs. Outputs fluctuate. Without system control, success becomes accidental. Accidents are not scalable. What is a system? A system is a repeatable structure, a predictable process, a measurable workflow, a scalable architecture. Systems generate outcomes consistently. Examples in the AI era: content pipelines, automated funnels, data tracking frameworks, research production cycles, community engagement loops. If you control the structure, you influence the results. The AI amplifier effect. Artificial intelligence magnifies systems, not randomness. If your structure is strong, AI increases efficiency. If your structure is weak, AI amplifies chaos. Tools do not create power. Systems create power. AI accelerates system performance. From performer to architect. There are two types of digital actors. Performers, they produce constantly. They chase engagement. They depend on energy and effort. Architects, they design workflows. They automate intelligently. They optimize patterns. Performers burn out. Architects compound. In the AI age, architecture beats hustle. The system control pyramid. Control requires mastery across 4 levels. Level 1, execution. You produce manually. Level 2, optimization. You refine performance using data. Level 3, automation. You reduce repetitive tasks. Level 4, architecture. You design integrated ecosystems. Power emerges at level 4. Economic implication. If you only sell hours, you control income. If you build systems, you control scale. System control creates predictable cash flow, reduced stress, strategic flexibility, negotiation leverage, income fluctuates, systems stabilize, organizational parallel. Institutions that focus only on quarterly results panic. Institutions that focus on process design outperform over time. Strong systems. Absorb shocks. Adjust internally. Improve iteratively. Resilience is system strength. Psychological power. When you control systems, you feel less reactive. You make decisions calmly. You take calculated risks. You reduce emotional volatility. System control creates mental stability. Mental stability increases authority. The danger of outcome addiction. Chasing immediate results leads to strategic inconsistency, brand confusion, short-term thinking, ethical compromise. System thinkers play long-term. Long-term thinkers dominate quietly. Strategic insight. In 2026, outcomes are temporary. Systems are durable. If you want sustained influence, build processes, measure patterns, automate intelligently, optimize continuously, control the machine. Do not obsess over each output, because when the system is sound, results follow naturally. And when you control the structure, you control the future. Reflective questions. Do you focus more on results or structure? What repeatable systems support your influence? Can your ecosystem operate without constant effort? Are you architect or performer? Power in the age of AI belongs to system designers. Design wisely. Because those who control systems shape outcomes indefinitely. Part 5. Elite Control and Long-Term Dominance. Law 31. Design for longevity, not popularity. Popularity is immediate. Longevity is strategic. In the AI era, attention cycles are short. Trends emerge and disappear within weeks. Viral moments explode and fade. Algorithms reward novelty. But power does not belong to those who trend briefly. It belongs to those who endure. The trap of popularity. Popularity is seductive. Viral content. Rapid follower growth. Sudden recognition. Trending topics. But popularity is unstable. It depends on algorithmic favor, public mood, trend timing, cultural shifts. Popularity is seductive. When popularity becomes the goal, identity fragments. Fragmented identity weakens authority. Longevity as structural strategy. Longevity requires consistent intellectual positioning, clear value alignment, controlled expansion, ethical discipline, infrastructure resilience. Longevity compounds slowly. Slow compounding outperforms sudden spikes. The AI acceleration problem. AI accelerates content production and distribution. This creates saturation, noise, rapid trend cycles. If you chase every trend, you dilute your positioning. If you maintain thematic discipline, you build durable authority. Clarity outlasts virality. Long-term identity architecture. Ask yourself, what do you want to be known for in 10 years? Not this month. Not this year. 10 years. Elite positioning requires time horizon expansion. When decisions align with decade-level vision, stability increases. Reputation as compound interest. Each publication, lecture, collaboration, or strategic statement adds to reputation capital. Reputation compounds like interest. Consistency increases trust. Trust increases opportunity. Opportunity increases influence. Short-term popularity often sacrifices long-term trust. Elite actors protect reputation above engagement spikes. Institutional perspective. Great institutions do not pivot with every trend. They maintain mission clarity, innovate within boundaries, protect brand identity, evolve gradually. Stability creates respect. Respect creates endurance. Psychological maturity. Longevity requires emotional restraint. You must resist. Reactionary responses. Impulsive controversy. Short-term monetization traps. Ego-driven expansion. Discipline protects positioning. Elite control requires patience. Economic durability. Short-term popularity can create income spikes. Longevity creates economic ecosystems. Systems designed for endurance include asset diversification, platform independence, data ownership, strategic partnerships, automated infrastructure, temporary hype collapses under pressure, structured longevity adapts, AI and memory permanence. In 2026, digital memory does not forget. Your statements remain searchable. Your content remains archived. Your positions remain recorded. Longevity requires consistency. Contradictory opportunism damages legacy. Elite power protects narrative continuity. The legacy test. Before strategic decisions, ask, will this strengthen my position in 5 years? Will this align with my core identity? Will this damage long-term authority for short-term attention? If the answer weakens durability, decline. Elite actors think in decades. The strategic insight. In the age of AI, popularity is algorithmic. Longevity is architectural. If you design for trends, you depend on platforms. If you design for endurance, you control positioning. Elite control is not loud. It is steady. It is patient. It is disciplined. And it compounds silently until it becomes unshakable. Reflective questions. Are you chasing attention or building legacy? Do your decisions align with long-term identity? Are you sacrificing credibility for visibility? Is your system durable beyond trends or identity? Power that lasts is quiet. Designed for decades. Because those who endure eventually dominate. Law 32. Control the frame of comparison. You are rarely judged in isolation. You are judged in comparison. In the digital age, comparison is constant. Audiences scroll, swipe, evaluate, contrast. Algorithms present alternatives instantly. If you allow others to define the comparison standard, you compete on their terms. Elite actors control the frame. The psychology of relative judgment. Humans evaluate value comparatively. Expensive compared to what? Advanced compared to whom? Successful relative to which benchmark? Absolute metrics matter less than perceived contrast. If you are compared to elite competitors prematurely, you appear average. If you are compared to outdated standards, you appear exceptional. Control the comparison context. Framing and perception power. Framing determines evaluation. For example, a leadership course compared to free online content seems premium. The same course compared to an MBA program appears affordable. The product did not change. The comparison did. Perception shifted. Power lies in context control. AI era amplification. Artificial intelligence accelerates comparison culture. Ranking systems. Recommendation engines. Automated reviews. Content suggestions. If you do not define your positioning clearly, algorithms categorize you automatically. Automatic categorization reduces strategic control. Intentional framing increases dominance. Strategic comparison control. To control comparison. Define your niche clearly. Highlight distinct advantages. Clarify your category. Avoid misaligned competitive positioning. When you define the category, you reduce direct competition. Category creation is elite positioning. The category leader strategy. Elite actors often create new labels. Instead of consultant, become AI transformation architect. Instead of content creator, become digital strategy scholar. By redefining the category, you shift the comparison base. Shift the base, shift the outcome. Psychological advantage. When you control comparison, you reduce insecurity. You reduce reactive competition. You maintain strategic clarity. Reactive comparison breeds anxiety. Architectural framing breeds confidence. Institutional application. Brands that dominate markets often. Define industry standards. Create proprietary frameworks. Develop signature methodologies. When others compare themselves to you, you control narrative. Be the benchmark. The risk of direct competition. Direct head-to-head positioning can dilute uniqueness, reduce margin, trigger unnecessary rivalry. Strategic actors avoid fighting on crowded terrain. They design alternative terrain. Control the battlefield before competing. Ethical framing. Comparison framing must remain honest. Avoid distortion. Strategic positioning emphasizes strengths without misrepresentation. Sustainable power rests on credibility. The strategic insight. In 2026, comparison is constant. Attention is limited. Perception shapes choice. If you allow random comparison, you lose leverage. If you define the frame, you influence evaluation. Do not compete blindly. Define the category. Define the criteria. Define the benchmark. Because whoever controls comparison controls perception. And perception shapes power. Reflective questions. Who are you being compared to right now? Did you define that comparison? Are you positioned in a crowded category? Have you created your own benchmark? Elite dominance is rarely about being the best in someone else's game. It is about designing the game. Control the frame. And you control the outcome. Law 33. Make yourself difficult to replace. Everyone is talented. Few are indispensable. In the age of AI, replaceability has increased dramatically. Automation replaces repetitive labor. Global talent markets increase competition. Freelance platforms reduce exclusivity. AI tools lower skill barriers. If your contribution is generic, you are vulnerable. Elite power requires strategic irreplaceability. The replaceability trap. You become replaceable when your skills are common. Your output is standardized. Your value is transactional. Your presence adds no unique perspective. In saturated markets, similarity invites substitution. If someone else can do what you do with equal efficiency, leverage disappears. The scarcity of unique synthesis. Irreplaceability comes from synthesis, not from isolated skill. For example, many can write, many can analyze data, many can speak publicly. Few can combine deep domain expertise, AI fluency, narrative clarity, strategic systems thinking, institutional leadership insight. Combination creates uniqueness. Uniqueness reduces replaceability. AI and the differentiation imperative. AI compresses skill gaps. Tasks that once required years of experience can now be assisted by intelligent tools. This shifts power away from technical exclusivity. Your differentiation must come from judgment, perspective, integration, strategic foresight, ethical credibility. Machines execute. Humans interpret. Interpretation is harder to replace. Intellectual property as shield. When you create proprietary frameworks, original models, branded methodologies, structured ecosystems, you move from contributor to architect. Architects are harder to replace than operators. Ownership of intellectual architecture strengthens position. Relational capital. Irreplaceability also emerges from relationships. When you build trust-based networks, long-term collaborations, institutional memory, emotional loyalty, replacement becomes costly. Human capital often outweighs technical capital. System-level integration. If you integrate yourself deeply into strategic decision cycles, infrastructure design, knowledge repositories, cross-functional systems, your removal creates disruption. Disruption risk increases your leverage. The danger of comfort. Many professionals remain comfortable in routine roles. Routine invites automation. Automation invites substitution. To remain indispensable. Continuously expand capability. Integrate AI fluency. Enhance strategic thinking. Increase interdisciplinary reach. Growth protects relevance. The elite standard. Elite actors. Solve complex problems. Connect multiple domains. Anticipate future shifts. Led transformation. They are not task executors. They are system designers. System designers are difficult to replace. Ethical dimension. Irreplaceability should not create arrogance. Instead, it should increase responsibility. True elite power is service-oriented, strategic, stable, forward-thinking. Being difficult to replace should strengthen contribution, not ego. The strategic insight. In 2026, skills are replicable. Information is accessible. Automation is expanding. If you remain generic, you become vulnerable. If you build unique synthesis, deep integration, and proprietary structure, you gain leverage. Replaceability reduces power. Irreplaceability increases negotiation strength, autonomy, and authority. Become more than confident. Become structurally essential. Reflective questions. What makes your contribution unique? Could someone easily replicate your value? Had you created proprietary intellectual frameworks? Are you architect or operator? Power belongs to those who are hard to substitute. Design yourself into the system. And make replacement costly. Law 34. Control your digital footprint like a fortress. Reputation was once local. Now it is global, searchable, and permanent. In the AI age, your digital footprint is not background noise, it is infrastructure. Every post, every comment, every publication, every collaboration, every reaction, all of it becomes data. And data shapes perception. Elite power requires digital perimeter control. The permanence principle. In 2026, search engines archive. Screenshots circulate. AI models analyze patterns. Platforms store history. Digital memory does not forget easily. Impulsive expression becomes permanent record. Elite actors communicate as if every statement will be audited in 10 years. Because it might be. The 3 layers of digital footprint control. Keycap 1 visible layer, public content. This includes social media posts, articles, videos, public comments, interviews. Ask, does this strengthen my long-term positioning? Does this align with my identity architecture? Random expression dilutes clarity. Strategic expression compounds authority. Keycap 2 associative layer, connections and collaborations. You are evaluated by who you follow, who you endorse, who you partner with, who endorses you. Association shapes narrative. Weak associations weaken brand perception. Elite actors curate associations carefully. Keycap 3 historical layer, archived presence. Old content resurfaces. Past opinions reappear. Contradictions are exposed. Elite digital actors. Periodically audit past content. Clarify outdated positions. Maintain narrative consistency. Evolution is acceptable. Inconsistency without explanation damages trust. AI and reputation analysis. Artificial intelligence increasingly evaluates digital behavior. Employers use AI screening. Investors analyze online sentiment. Institutions monitor public footprint. Algorithms detect controversy patterns. Your digital record influences opportunities before you speak. Silence is also signal. Absence may imply irrelevance. Balance visibility with discipline. Emotional discipline online. Most digital damage occurs through impulsive reactions, emotional escalation, unverified sharing, public arguments. Composure is power. Elite actors respond strategically or not at all. Not every comment requires engagement. Digital fortress strategy. Treat your digital presence as a curated archive, a professional portfolio, a strategic identity map. Before publishing, apply the fortress filter. Will this strengthen credibility? Will this age well? Will this align with my long-term dominance strategy? If not, reconsider. Crisis containment. If controversy arises, respond calmly. Provide context. Avoid emotional escalation. Reinforce core values. Silence may sometimes be strategic. Reaction without structure amplifies damage. Institutional application. Universities, organizations, and leaders must maintain consistent messaging, ethical clarity, strategic digital communication policy. Digital mismanagement can destabilize institutional authority. Digital discipline protects legacy. The strategic insight. In the AI era, your digital footprint is part of your power structure. If unmanaged, it becomes vulnerability. If controlled, it becomes armor. Elite dominance requires strategic communication, curated association, emotional discipline, long-term consistency. Your digital footprint is not casual. It is permanent infrastructure. Protect it like a fortress. Reflective questions. Have you audited your digital presence recently? Does your online history reflect your strategic identity? Are your associations strengthening or diluting your brand? Do you react emotionally online? Reputation compounds. Guard it carefully. Because in 2026, perception travels instantly, and digital memory rarely erases. Law 35. Play the long game while others chase short wins. Amateurs seek applause. Elites seek advantage. In the AI age, feedback loops are immediate. Views appear instantly. Comments arrive within seconds. Revenue dashboards update in real time. This creates addiction to short-term metrics. But power does not belong to those who win today. It belongs to those who are positioned to dominate tomorrow. The short-term trap. Short-term thinking leads to trend chasing, reactive positioning, identity dilution, emotional volatility, revenue instability. If every decision is based on immediate performance, long-term architecture collapses. Short wins feel rewarding, but they often weaken structural strength. The compounding principle. Elite strategy focuses on compounding. Compounding applies to reputation, audience trust, intellectual authority, data accumulation, asset ownership, network expansion. Compounding requires patience. Patience creates disproportionate results over time. AI and time compression illusion. Artificial intelligence accelerates production and feedback. This creates the illusion that everything should grow instantly. But while production accelerates, trust still compounds slowly. Authority still builds gradually. Legacy still requires time. Speed does not eliminate maturity cycles. The strategic time horizon. Ask yourself, are you optimizing for this week? This quarter? This year? This decade? Elite actors think in decades. When decisions align with decade-scale vision, noise becomes irrelevant. Criticism loses intensity. Trends lose distraction power. Long-term clarity creates calm execution. Economic application. Short-term monetization may sacrifice brand integrity. Overextend audience. Dilute positioning. Long-term monetization builds. Sustainable revenue models. Recurring systems. Brand equity. Market insulation. Temporary spikes fade. Structural ecosystems endure. Psychological advantage. Long game thinkers. Remain emotionally stable. Avoid reactionary behavior. Resist ego-driven decisions. Protect intellectual coherence. Emotional stability increases authority. Authority attracts high-level partnerships. Institutional parallel. Great universities, companies, and leaders. Protect mission. Reinforce culture. Evolve gradually. Build generational influence. They do not pivot recklessly with every wave. Consistency outlasts volatility. Tactical flexibility, strategic patience. Playing the long game does not mean inactivity. It means acting consistently, avoiding panic, maintaining structural integrity, Reinforcing positioning. You can move quickly tactically while remaining patient strategically. Speed in action. Patience in vision. The danger of impulsive expansion. Sudden scaling without structural maturity often leads to collapse. Long game players. Test carefully. Expand gradually. Monitor stability. Protect quality. Slow growth compounds stronger than unstable spikes. The strategic insight. In 2026, attention is fast. Feedback is instant. Temptation is constant. But elite dominance requires patience, discipline, vision, structural design. If others chase applause, you build infrastructure. If others seek viral moments, you design legacy systems. Because in the algorithmic world, short wins impress. Long-term positioning dominates. Reflective questions. Are your decisions emotionally reactive? Do you prioritize immediate validation? Are you building something that will matter in 10 years? Is your strategy aligned with long-term authority? Play the long game. Because power that compounds slowly becomes unshakable. And those who endure eventually control the system. Strategy Blueprint. Law 36. Disappear strategically to increase perceived value. Constant visibility creates familiarity. Familiarity can reduce mystique. Reduced mystique lowers perceived value. In the AI age, overexposure is easy. Content can be produced endlessly. Updates can be posted hourly. Engagement can be constant. But elite power understands rhythm. Presence builds recognition. Absence builds anticipation. The overexposure problem. When you are always available, your responses feel routine. Your content feels expected. Your access feels unlimited. Unlimited access reduces perceived scarcity. Scarcity increases perceived importance. Strategic disappearance restores weight. Psychological scarcity effect. Humans assign higher value to what feels limited. If someone speaks rarely but meaningfully, releases selectively, appears intentionally, their words carry more impact. Frequency alone does not create influence. Controlled presence does. AI and content saturation. AI tools allow individuals to flood digital ecosystems. But saturation produces attention fatigue, engagement decline, identity dilution. Strategic actors resist the urge to fill every moment. They curate. They pause. They return with precision. The power of controlled silence. Silence communicates. Confidence. Composure. Deliberation. Reactionary engagement communicates. Emotional volatility. Insecurity. Dependency on validation. Elite actors do not respond to every provocation. Silence can signal superiority. Timing as influence. Disappearance must be strategic, not accidental. Examples of strategic absence. Pausing before a major release. Withholding commentary during volatile debates. Stepping back after high visibility. Allowing anticipation to build. Re-entry then carries momentum. Institutional application. Luxury brands operate this principle well. Limited product releases. Controlled announcements. Selective appearances. This maintains prestige. Prestige increases desirability. Desirability increases power. Digital leadership context. Leaders who are constantly reactive online risk. Brand dilution. Emotional missteps. Reduced gravitas. Measured presence enhances authority. Authority thrives on perception of stability. The rhythm strategy. Elite influence follows rhythm. Visibility. Contribution. Reinforcement. Pause. Reentry. Rhythm prevents burnout and fatigue. It preserves psychological strength. The risk of permanent disappearance. Strategic absence must not become irrelevance. Too long a disappearance leads to loss of audience engagement, algorithmic relevance, perceived activity. Balance is essential. Absence must serve anticipation, not obscurity. The strategic insight. In 2026, everyone is visible. Few are selective. If you are always present, you blend into noise. If you control timing, you control impact. Appear when value is highest. Withdraw when attention is saturated. Let anticipation work in your favor. Because in the algorithmic age, visibility creates familiarity. Scarcity creates prestige. And prestige strengthens dominance. Reflective questions. Are you overexposed digitally? Do you react to every signal? Does your presence feel intentional or habitual? Are you building anticipation? Elite power understands timing. Master presence. Master absence. Because influence is not about constant noise. It is about controlled impact. Law 37. Make others invest in you. People value what they invest in. Time invested creates attachment. Effort invested creates commitment. Money invested creates seriousness. Reputation invested creates loyalty. In the AI age, where access is abundant and switching costs are low, commitment is fragile. Elite influence requires psychological anchoring. If others invest in your ecosystem, they become part of it. The investment principle. Humans rationalize their investments. If someone spends hours consuming your content, pays for your program, defends your ideas publicly, participates in your community, they begin identifying with your framework. Investment strengthens identity alignment. Identity alignment strengthens loyalty. Free value versus strategic commitment. Free value builds visibility. But unlimited free access without structured commitment creates passive audiences. Elite actors balance. Open access for discovery. Structured pathways for deeper involvement. Participation increases emotional ownership. Ownership reduces abandonment. The psychology of contribution. When individuals contribute. Ideas. Feedback. Case studies. Testimonials. Co-created content. They feel seen. They feel included. Inclusion strengthens belonging. Belonging creates tribe cohesion. AI and low commitment risk. AI reduces friction. Instant content. Easy access. One-click subscriptions. Rapid switching. Because friction is low, loyalty must be intentionally designed. Design systems that require engagement, reflection, application, contribution. Passive consumption does not build durable ecosystems. Structured commitment architecture. Ways to create strategic investment. KeyCap 1 tiered memberships, KeyCap 2 limited cohorts, KeyCap 3 certification programs, KeyCap 4 application-based communities, KeyCap 5 revenue sharing collaborations, KeyCap 6 joint projects. When people apply effort, they increase attachment. Attachment strengthens ecosystem durability. Economic investment. Monetary investment signals seriousness. Even small payments create psychological shift. Free casual paid committed. Pricing is not only financial. It filters seriousness. Reputation investment. When respected individuals associate publicly with you, they stake part of their reputation. Reputation investment deepens alliance durability. High-level partnerships increase ecosystem resilience. Institutional context. Universities, professional networks, and elite organizations use. Application processes. Selective admission. Membership tiers. Selectivity increases prestige. Prestige increases perceived value. Perceived value strengthens loyalty. Ethical responsibility. Investment must not be exploited. Do not overpromise. Manipulate scarcity falsely. Pressure emotionally. Sustainable ecosystems require mutual benefit. When people invest and receive real value, trust compounds. The strategic insight. In 2026, attention is temporary. Commitment is rare. If people consume casually, they leave casually. If people invest effort, they stay intentionally. Design systems where others participate, contribute, commit, grow. Because when others invest in your structure, they defend it. And defended ecosystems are difficult to destabilize. Reflective questions. Are your followers passive or invested? Have you created structured commitment pathways? Do people contribute to your ecosystem? Is your value exchange balanced? Influence deepens through investment. Make others part of the system. And the system will sustain itself. Law 38. Create intellectual property that outlives you. Content fades. Intellectual property endures. In the AI era, content is infinite. Posts disappear in feeds. Videos sync in algorithms. Trends dissolve quickly. But structured intellectual property, frameworks, models, systems, doctrines can survive decades. Elite power is not built only on visibility. It is built on legacy architecture. From content creator to framework builder. Most individuals produce content. Few build intellectual structures. Content answers questions. Frameworks shape thinking. When you create, named models, structured methodologies, signature theories, branded systems. You shift from contributor to architect. Architects outlive trends. The framework advantage. A framework does three things. Keycap 1 simplifies complexity. Keycap 2 creates repeatable structure. Keycap 3 anchors identity. When people reference your model, they reference you. When your framework becomes language, influence multiplies. Language shapes perception. Perception shapes power. AI and the intellectual property race. Artificial intelligence accelerates idea replication. Generic insights are easily reproduced. Original synthesis is harder to copy. Your advantage lies in integrating domains uniquely, connecting theory to practice, creating structured naming systems, developing proprietary diagrams. Synthesis builds defensibility. Naming as strategic anchor. Elite intellectual property is named. Examples across history show. Named principles. Defined doctrines. Branded systems. Naming creates recall. Recall strengthens recognition. Recognition increases authority. Longevity through codification. If your ideas exist only in scattered content, they fragment. Codify them into books, academic papers, structured curricula, certification programs, digital libraries, AI-powered tools. Codification increases durability. Durability strengthens legacy. Institutional parallel. Great universities, corporations, and leaders are remembered for doctrines, philosophies, institutional models. They are not remembered for isolated statements. They are remembered for systems. System builders influence generations. Economic dimension. Intellectual property becomes asset class. It can generate royalties, licensing revenue, course income, speaking invitations, consulting leverage. Assets that survive beyond active labor create structural independence. Ethical responsibility. Legacy building requires integrity. Do not overclaim originality. Borrow without attribution. Inflate minor insights. True intellectual property contributes real clarity. Authenticity sustains influence. The immortality factor. When your frameworks are taught by others, referenced publicly, integrated institutionally, adapted globally, your influence transcends your presence. Legacy is structured impact. The strategic insight. In 2026, content is abundant. Frameworks are rare. If you only publish continuously, you remain temporary. If you codify and structure your thinking, you build permanence. Create models. Name them. Refine them. Protect them. Because elite dominance is not about constant output. It is about durable architecture. Reflective questions. Have you created a proprietary framework? Are your ideas structured or scattered? Can others reference your intellectual system? Are you building content or legacy? Build what lasts. Because true power is not just influence today. It is relevance tomorrow. Law 39. Convert attention into infrastructure. Attention is volatile. Infrastructure is durable. In the AI age, gaining attention is easier than ever. Keeping it is harder. Monetizing it sustainably is rare. Viral moments, trending posts, and rapid growth spikes create excitement. But without structured systems, attention evaporates. Elite power lies not in capturing attention, but in converting it into long-term assets. The attention economy illusion. Digital platforms reward. Engagement spikes. Emotional triggers. Shareable content. Trending reactions. This creates a cycle of attention validation repeat. But attention without conversion produces instability. You become dependent on constant performance. Performance dependence weakens leverage. Infrastructure defined. Infrastructure includes email databases, subscription ecosystems, digital product libraries, community platforms, structured educational programs, data ownership systems. Infrastructure turns temporary visibility into durable leverage. Leverage creates autonomy. The AI acceleration risk. AI increases content production speed. More content, more visibility, more noise. If you do not design systems to capture and organize attention, it dissipates. Design must follow visibility. Visibility without design creates chaos. The conversion mindset. Instead of asking, how many views did I get? Ask, how many systems did I strengthen? For every spike in attention, build audience capture pathways, structured onboarding sequences, long-term engagement channels, educational pipelines. Turn interest into belonging, belonging into commitment, commitment into infrastructure, economic transformation. Attention becomes economic power when structured. For example, viral content course enrollment, public lecture membership growth, social media engagement newsletter subscription, academic paper consulting invitation. Conversion multiplies value. Raw visibility does not. Platform independence strategy. Relying solely on platform visibility is fragile. Platforms control algorithms, monetization policies, account access. Infrastructure shifts control back to you. Own the data. Own the systems. Own the relationship. Ownership increases resilience. Institutional application. Universities, brands, and leaders who capture audience interest systematically, convert engagement into structured programs, develop recurring ecosystems, create sustainable influence. Those who only chase publicity fade. Publicity is noise. Infrastructure is architecture. Psychological stability. When attention fluctuates. Reactive actors panic. Structured actors remain calm. Because infrastructure buffers volatility. System design reduces emotional dependency on metrics. Stability increases authority. The strategic insight. In 2026, attention is currency, but currency must be invested. If you spend attention immediately, it disappears. If you convert attention into infrastructure, it compounds. Capture wisely. Design intentionally. Structure continuously. Because elite dominance is not about being seen. It is about building systems that survive visibility cycles. Reflective questions. Do you have structured audience capture systems? Are you dependent on platform algorithms? Does your attention translate into durable assets? Are you architecting or reacting? Attention is temporary. Infrastructure is permanent. Convert wisely. Law 40. Institutionalize yourself. Influence is powerful. Institutional influence is dominant. An individual can rise quickly. An institution endures. In the AI age, personal brands grow fast. But personal brands alone remain vulnerable to fatigue, platform shifts, health issues, reputation volatility, and time constraints. Elite control requires moving beyond personality-driven influence into structured institutional presence. From individual to institution. An individual speaks, creates, leads. An institution codifies, scales, sustains, outlives. When your ideas depend only on your energy, growth is limited. When your ideas are embedded in systems, teams, programs, and processes, influence multiplies. What institutionalization means? Institutionalizing yourself involves creating formal structures, building organizational identity, establishing standardized systems, training others to carry your frameworks, developing governance models. You move from being the center to being the architect. Architects build structures that function independently. AI and institutional leverage. AI reduces administrative burden. This makes it easier to build academies, launch think tanks, develop digital institutes, create research centers, build structured communities. What once required heavy bureaucracy can now be built lean. Small institutions can operate with precision. Precision scales influence. Reputation transformation. When you operate as an individual, you are evaluated personally. When you operate through an institution, you gain perceived legitimacy, structural authority, strategic gravitas, greater partnership appeal. Institutions command more trust than individuals alone. Economic expansion. Institutions can license intellectual property, train certified professionals, host conferences, publish journals, build recurring membership systems. Institutional structure diversifies revenue. Diversification strengthens independence. Leadership transition. Institutionalization allows succession. Elite dominance considers continuity. If your influence ends with you, it is temporary. If your influence continues through structure, it becomes legacy. Legacy is structured continuity. Defensive power. Institutions are harder to attack than individuals. Reputational shock is absorbed by structure. Systems provide stability. Stability increases resilience. The risk of ego-centered leadership. Institutionalization requires ego reduction. If everything depends on your personal spotlight, you cannot scale sustainably. Elite actors decentralize visibility. They build advisory boards, faculty structures, governance systems, research networks. Decentralization increases durability. Institutional identity architecture. Strong institutions define core mission, value framework, ethical standards, intellectual doctrine, strategic roadmap. Identity must be clear. Ambiguous institutions collapse. The strategic insight. In 2026, personal brands rise fast. Institutions endure. If you want short-term fame, build personality. If you want long-term dominance, build structure. Institutionalize your ideas. Institutionalize your systems. Institutionalize your intellectual property. Because individuals influence moments. Institutions shape generations. Reflective questions. Are you operating as a personality or an institution? Can your system survive without you? Have you formalized your intellectual architecture? Are you building legacy or visibility? Elite power moves beyond individual presence. It builds systems that endure. Institutionalize yourself. And transform influence into permanence. Law 41. Control the narrative of your evolution. Growth is inevitable. Perception of growth is strategic. In the AI age, change happens quickly. Technologies shift. Markets evolve. Ideas mature. If you do not actively shape how your evolution is perceived, others will interpret it for you. Elite actors do not merely evolve. They narrate their evolution. The danger of silent transformation. When you shift focus, enter new domains, upgrade positioning, expand strategy. Without explanation, confusion emerges. Audiences may assume inconsistency, instability, opportunism. Silence creates narrative gaps. Narrative gaps invite speculation. Evolution versus contradiction. Growth should appear as progression, not contradiction. For example, moving from content creator to AI strategist must be framed as natural development of expertise, expanded perspective, strategic advancement. If framed poorly, it may appear as abandonment. Elite actors design transition messaging. The AI acceleration effect. In 2026, digital memory persists. Your past content remains searchable. If your current positioning conflicts with past messaging, credibility weakens. Evolution must be framed as refinement, not reversal. Explain the journey. Document the transition. Clarify the progression. Structured narrative control. Control evolution through Keycap 1 Public Reflections, Keycap 2 Strategic Announcements, Keycap 3 Thought Leadership Articles, Keycap 4 Vision Statements, Keycap 5 Updated Positioning Statements. Each shift should appear intentional. Intentional change signals leadership. Reactive change signals instability. Institutional application. Organizations that evolve successfully. Announce strategic pivots clearly. Reinforce mission continuity. Explain new direction logically. Align change with core identity. Transparent evolution builds trust. Abrupt shifts erode confidence. Psychological impact. When you narrate your growth, audiences feel included. Loyalty strengthens. Authority expands. Confusion reduces. Narrative clarity reduces friction. Reduced friction increases acceptance. Legacy alignment. Evolution should reinforce long-term identity. Ask, does this shift align with my decade-level vision? Can I connect this new direction to my foundational principles? If alignment exists, communicate it clearly. If alignment does not exist, reconsider. Strategic timing. Evolution announcements must be calm, structured, confident, forward-looking. Do not frame change as reaction to criticism. Frame it as strategic maturity. Maturity strengthens credibility. The risk of trend-driven evolution. Chasing every trend damages narrative coherence. Elite actors evolve deliberately, not impulsively, not reactively. Disciplined growth compounds authority. The strategic insight. In the AI era, change is constant. Memory is permanent. Perception is powerful. If you evolve silently, you lose narrative control. If you narrate your evolution, you shape interpretation. Shape the story of your growth. Anchor it in continuity. Present it as progression. Because elite dominance requires not only adaptation, but interpretation leadership. Reflective questions. Have you framed your recent evolution clearly? Does your growth appear intentional? Are you explaining transitions or letting audiences guess? Does your evolution align with long-term identity? Control the story of your transformation. Because growth without narrative clarity creates doubt. Growth with strategic framing creates authority. Law 42. Build a successor before you need one. Influence that depends entirely on one person is fragile. Power that can transfer is durable. In the AI age, personal brands grow quickly, but they also remain vulnerable to disruption, burnout, controversy, health issues, or strategic shifts. Elite control requires continuity. Continuity requires succession. The fragility of centralized power. If everything depends on you, decisions stall without you. Systems weaken in your absence. Growth plateaus at your capacity. Institutions collapse if you step back. Centralization feels powerful, but it is structurally unstable. Elite dominance requires decentralization. The succession principle. A successor is not merely a replacement. A successor is a carrier of your intellectual framework, a guardian of your institutional identity, a multiplier of your philosophy, a stabilizer of your legacy. Without succession planning, influence remains temporary. AI and scalable mentorship. Artificial intelligence allows you to codify training systems, document methodologies, record knowledge libraries, build structured learning modules. This accelerates successor development. Your ideas become teachable systems. Teachability strengthens continuity. The leadership transition strategy. Elite actors. Identify emerging talent early. Provide structured mentorship. Gradually delegate responsibility. Share visibility intentionally. Visibility sharing reduces ego risk. Shared leadership increases institutional resilience. Psychological barrier to succession. Many leaders avoid building successors because of ego attachment, fear of replacement, desire for exclusivity, control dependency. But refusal to decentralize reduces scale. Scale requires trust. Trust requires empowerment. Institutional parallel. Great institutions survive centuries because they codify doctrine. They train future leaders. They protect core principles. They plan transitions deliberately. Individuals fade. Institutions endure. Economic stability. When succession exists, investors gain confidence. Partners trust longevity. Communities feel secure. Markets stabilize. Succession planning strengthens structural credibility. Legacy architecture. If your influence ends with you, it was visibility. If your influence continues beyond you, it is legacy. Legacy requires clear intellectual documentation, ethical continuity, trained successors, governance structure. Governance protects doctrine. Strategic delegation. Succession planning includes delegating teaching, delegating operational leadership, delegating strategic oversight gradually. This transition must be staged, not abrupt. Abrupt exit creates instability. Gradual transfer builds continuity. The strategic insight. In 2026, speed dominates. Visibility fluctuates. Institutions outlast individuals. If you want elite control, think beyond yourself. Build systems. Train successors. Codify philosophy. Because ultimate power is not staying indispensable forever. It is becoming foundational. Foundations do not disappear. They support everything above them. Reflective questions. Could your system function without you today? Have you trained anyone to carry your framework? Is your intellectual property teachable? Are you building influence or legacy? Elite dominance requires succession. Prepare early. Because the strongest leaders build the future before they exit the present. Law 43. Neutralize enemies through structure, not emotion. Every rise creates resistance. Every expansion creates friction. Every influence creates opposition. In the AI age, criticism spreads quickly. Competitors analyze publicly. Narratives amplify rapidly. Elite actors do not defeat enemies emotionally. They neutralize them structurally. The emotional trap. When attacked, most individuals react defensively, argue publicly, escalate tension, personalize criticism. Emotional reaction gives opponents visibility. Visibility strengthens opposition. Elite actors avoid emotional combat. Structural neutralization defined. Structural neutralization means making opposition irrelevant, reducing dependency, building insulation, increasing resilience. Instead of fighting critics directly, design systems that absorb attacks, reduce vulnerability, increase credibility. Structure defeats hostility quietly. The AI amplification problem. In 2026, controversy travels faster than clarification. If you respond impulsively, algorithms amplify the conflict. If you respond structurally, noise fades. Elite strategy is containment, not escalation. Methods of structural neutralization. Keycap 1. Increase authority. Strengthen credentials, partnerships, and intellectual depth. Higher authority reduces credibility of minor critics. Keycap 2. Diversify platforms. If attacked on one channel, maintain influence elsewhere. Platform diversification reduces vulnerability. Keycap 3. Own your data. If platforms restrict visibility, direct audience access preserves stability. Data ownership reduces exposure risk. Keycap 4. Strengthen community. Loyal communities defend voluntarily. Strong tribes reduce need for direct confrontation. Keycap 5. Elevate above the conflict. Shift conversation to higher-level discourse. Refinement reduces tension. The power of indifference. Not all criticism requires engagement. Silence can. Signal confidence. Reduce oxygen for controversy. Prevent escalation. Selective response preserves energy. Energy preserved strengthens strategy. Institutional perspective. Large institutions rarely respond to every critic. They rely on governance frameworks, Legal structures. Reputation capital. Structural resilience. Stability neutralizes opposition over time. The psychological edge. When you remain calm under attack, observers perceive strength. Opponents appear reactive. Neutral audiences align with composure. Composure increases authority. Authority weakens opposition influence. Ethical defense. Structural neutralization must not involve suppression, manipulation, deception. Strength must come from transparency, consistency, quality contribution. Integrity remains foundation. The strategic insight. In the AI era, criticism is inevitable. Opposition is predictable. Escalation is easy. Elite actors do not win battles emotionally. They win structurally. Build systems strong enough that attacks lose impact. Expand so widely that minor opposition becomes irrelevant. Because true dominance is not loud. It is stable. And stability neutralizes noise. Reflective questions. Do you react emotionally to criticism? Are your systems resilient to attack? Does your community defend your positioning? Are you escalating conflict unnecessarily? Enemies feed on attention. Structure starves them. Design systems. Remain calm. And let architecture overpower opposition. Law 44. Make yourself the standard. Competing is reactive. Setting the standard is dominant. In the AI age, most professionals try to outperform others. They compare metrics, chase rankings, monitor competitors, and adjust constantly. Elite actors do something different. They define the benchmark. When you become the reference point, comparison shifts in your favor. The benchmark effect. In every field, there are names that become shorthand for excellence. When people say, Harvard-level research, Apple-level design, Tesla-level innovation, the organization is no longer competing. It is defining. Definition creates dominance. From participant to reference point. If you operate inside someone else's standard, you compete. If you create your own framework, you lead. To become the standard. Define clear principles. Create signature methodologies. Publish structured doctrines. Establish repeatable excellence. When others use your language, you control perception. AI and standardization power. Artificial intelligence thrives on pattern recognition. If your brand, framework, and positioning remain consistent, algorithms reinforce your authority. Consistency trains both audiences and systems. Repetition builds recognition. Recognition builds default status. The power of naming. Standards are often built through naming. Proprietary models. Defined frameworks. Unique terminology. Structured philosophies. Naming anchors memory. Memory creates authority. Authority sets standards. Institutional application. Institutions that become standards. Publish thought leadership. Set academic criteria. Develop industry certifications. Influence policy. When others follow your methodology, you gain structural control. Structural control increases longevity. The risk of imitation. If you constantly adapt to others' innovations, you remain reactive. Elite positioning requires original thought, clear differentiation, long-term coherence. Innovation with structure builds defensibility. Psychological influence. When you are perceived as the standard, criticism loses intensity. Comparison weakens. Loyalty strengthens. People do not question standards easily. They align with them. The discipline of excellence. Becoming the standard requires consistent quality, ethical clarity, long-term commitment, relentless refinement. Inconsistency destroys benchmark status. Stability reinforces it. Economic implication. Standards command premium positioning. Premium positioning enables higher pricing, selective partnerships, reduced competition, increased influence. If you define excellence, you control value perception. The strategic insight. In 2026, comparison is constant. Authority is fluid. Standards are powerful. Do not chase leadership. Define it. Build frameworks others adopt. Codify excellence others reference. Because when you become the standard, competition shifts toward imitation. And imitation confirms dominance. Reflective questions. Are you competing or defining? Do you have a signature methodology? Does your name signal a specific standard? Are others referencing your framework? Elite dominance does not chase rankings. It sets them. Become the benchmark. And let others measure themselves against you. Law 45. Anticipate the next system before it arrives. Followers react. Leaders adapt. Elites anticipate. In every era, power shifts when systems change. Printing press, industrial machinery, internet, artificial intelligence. Those who wait for confirmation enter late. Those who anticipate position early. Elite control in the AI age requires forward vision. The cycle of system change. Systems evolve in stages. Keycap 1 emergence. Early signals appear Keycap 2 skepticism. Majority doubts viability Keycap 3 acceleration. Rapid adoption begins Keycap 4 saturation. Late entrants compete intensely Keycap 5 replacement. New system begins forming. Most actors enter at stage 3 or 4. Elite actors observe stage 1. The signal detection skill. Anticipation requires monitoring weak signals, tracking technological research, watching niche experimentation, studying early adopters, reading cross-industry patterns. Future shifts rarely appear suddenly. They whisper before they dominate. Train yourself to hear whispers. AI as early advantage example. Those who integrated AI early built systems faster, reduced operational cost, expanded content scale, strengthened data intelligence. Late adopters struggle to catch up. Time advantage compounds. The psychological barrier. Most resist early movement because of fear of uncertainty, attachment to comfort, risk aversion, peer pressure. Anticipation requires tolerance for ambiguity. Ambiguity tolerance is elite trait. Institutional perspective. Great institutions invest in research divisions, innovation labs, experimental pilots, long-term scenario modeling. They prepare before necessity forces action. Preparation reduces shock. Strategic foresight practice. To anticipate effectively. Dedicate time to trend analysis. Build relationships with innovators. Test emerging tools early. Allocate experimental budget. Maintain strategic flexibility. Experimentation increases readiness. Readiness increases leverage. The cost of delay. When systems shift. Late adopters overpay. Market entry becomes crowded. Brand repositioning becomes harder. Authority becomes diluted. Early movement secures territory. Territory creates defensive advantage. The ethical dimension. Anticipation must align with long-term identity. Do not chase every novelty. Focus on shifts that align with your mission. Enhance your system. Expand your influence responsibly. Discernment prevents distraction. The strategic insight. In 2026, technological cycles accelerate. New infrastructures emerge rapidly. If you wait for certainty, you enter competition. If you anticipate early, you define direction. Study emerging systems. Test before mainstream adoption. Position before saturation. Because elite dominance does not depend on reacting to change. It depends on preparing for it before others see it. Reflective questions. Are you studying emerging technologies regularly? Do you experiment early or wait for proof? What system might replace today's dominant structure? Are you preparing for the next shift? The future rarely announces itself loudly. It appears quietly. See it early. Move deliberately. And control the system before it controls you. Law 46. Never become dependent on applause. Applause is addictive. Addiction weakens judgment. In the AI age, feedback is instant. Likes appear in seconds. Comments arrive continuously. Views update in real time. Revenue dashboards fluctuate daily. This creates psychological dependence. Elite actors measure performance. They do not emotionally depend on it. The validation trap. When applause becomes motivation. You adjust ideas for approval. You soften controversial but necessary truths. You chase engagement over substance. You become reactive to audience mood. Audience approval becomes invisible control. You believe you lead. In reality, you are being directed. Algorithmic conditioning. Platforms are designed to reward behavior. Positive reinforcement increases repetition. If you post something viral, receive intense praise, experience revenue spike, you are tempted to repeat that pattern, even if it weakens long-term positioning. Elite discipline requires resisting conditioning. Strategic independence. True authority comes from internal clarity, value alignment, long-term vision, intellectual integrity. When applause disappears temporarily, your direction must remain stable. Stability signals strength. The risk of crowd control. Crowds are volatile. They celebrate quickly, criticize quickly, shift interest rapidly. If your strategy follows crowd mood, your identity fragments. Fragmentation reduces authority. Authority requires coherence. AI amplification effect. Artificial intelligence accelerates crowd behavior. Trends spread faster. Reactions escalate quickly. The temptation to optimize for engagement intensifies. But engagement spikes are not equivalent to influence growth. Influence compounds slowly. Leadership dimension. Leaders who rely on applause. Avoid difficult decisions. Fear dissent. Prioritize popularity. Lose strategic direction. Elite leaders. Communicate clearly. Accept temporary resistance. Maintain composure. Protect long-term positioning. Respect lasts longer than applause. Emotional discipline practice. To reduce dependence. Review metrics strategically, not obsessively. Separate identity from performance numbers. Maintain private reflection space. Protect long-term mission clarity. Internal stability increases external influence. Institutional perspective. Great institutions. Maintain mission even during criticism. Protect doctrine during pressure. Evolve carefully, not emotionally. Stability builds generational trust. The strategic insight. In 2026, applause is instant. Silence is temporary. Criticism is inevitable. If you depend on praise, you surrender autonomy. If you maintain strategic independence, you preserve authority. Listen to feedback, but do not serve applause. Because elite dominance requires internal alignment, not external validation. Reflective questions. Do metrics influence your emotional stability? Are you adjusting strategy for approval? Can you continue confidently without immediate praise? Is your identity internally anchored? Applause fades. Vision endures. Led from clarity, not from noise. Law 47. Consolidate power quietly before displaying it. Visible power attracts attention. Hidden consolidation creates control. In the AI age, visibility is easy. Influence can be broadcast instantly. Success can be announced publicly. Expansion can be celebrated online. But premature display creates vulnerability. Elite actors build strength first. They reveal it later. The visibility temptation. When growth begins, there is temptation to announce every achievement, display every milestone, signal every strategic move, reveal expansion plans early. Public celebration invites competitive reaction, strategic imitation, opposition mobilization, market counteraction. Noise attracts friction. Silent consolidation strategy. Before announcing growth. Secure partnerships. Strengthen infrastructure. Build reserves. Expand quietly. Test systems privately. Preparation reduces exposure risk. Exposure without readiness increases instability. AI and competitive surveillance. In 2026, competitors monitor public launches, hiring patterns, partnership signals, content shifts, data trends. Public signals create intelligence for others. Strategic actors limit signal leakage. The strategic timing principle. Reveal power when position is defensible, infrastructure is stable, partnerships are secured, competitive advantage is established. Timing determines impact. Impact reinforces dominance. Institutional parallel. Strong institutions. Develop innovations internally. Test quietly. Launch strategically. Protect intellectual property. Premature exposure weakens leverage. Controlled unveiling strengthens authority. Psychological advantage. When growth appears sudden and decisive, observers perceive strength. Competitors feel unprepared. Narrative shifts in your favor. Surprise amplifies perception of dominance. Dominance influences alignment. The risk of over-secrecy. Consolidation must not become stagnation. Excessive secrecy reduces visibility. Balance is essential. Build quietly. Reveal strategically. Economic dimension. Quiet consolidation includes strengthening asset base, diversifying revenue streams, securing data ownership, increasing negotiation leverage. Public display should follow structural security, not precede it. The strategic insight. In the AI era, visibility is constant. Surveillance is common. Competition reacts quickly. If you reveal before consolidating, you weaken your advantage. If you consolidate first, you control timing. Build strength privately. Reveal selectively. Because elite dominance is not about constant broadcasting. It is about controlled impact. Reflective questions. Are you announcing moves prematurely? Is your infrastructure stable before expansion? Are competitors learning from your visibility? Do you build quietly or react publicly? Power consolidated silently becomes difficult to challenge. Strength revealed strategically becomes impossible to ignore. Master timing. And display dominance only when it cannot be reversed. Law 48, the final law. Remain adaptable while protecting your core. Rigidity breaks. Chaos dissolves. Elite power balances structure and flexibility. In the AI age, systems evolve faster than ever. Technologies shift. Platforms rise and fall. Economic models transform. Cultural expectations fluctuate. If you are rigid, you become obsolete. If you are unstable, you lose identity. The final law is synthesis. Adapt constantly, but protect your core. The paradox of stability and change. To survive long-term, you must master two forces. Keycap 1 fluidity, the ability to adjust. Keycap 2 constancy, the ability to remain grounded. Too much fluidity creates inconsistency. Too much constancy creates stagnation. Elite actors evolve without losing identity. The core principle. Your core includes values, ethical standards, intellectual doctrine, long-term mission, strategic philosophy. These must remain stable. Everything else can evolve. Tools, platforms, distribution channels, technology, communication methods. Core anchors identity. Flexibility protects relevance. AI era acceleration. Artificial intelligence compresses adaptation cycles. What worked last year may weaken next year. Elite actors. Monitor change continuously. Experiment early. Adjust quickly. Protect identity consistently. They evolve systems without diluting philosophy. The danger of identity drift. When adaptation becomes reactive, brand confusion increases. Audience trust declines. Strategic coherence weakens. Change must appear intentional, not desperate. Intentional adaptation signals intelligence. Desperate adaptation signals instability. The elastic strategy model. Think of your structure as elastic. Firm enough to maintain shape. Flexible enough to bend. Elastic strength prevents fracture. Fracture destroys influence. Institutional survival pattern. Organizations that endure decades. Adapt operationally. Preserve foundational values. Communicate transitions clearly. Invest in learning culture. Learning culture accelerates controlled adaptation. Controlled adaptation sustains dominance. Psychological discipline. Adaptability requires ego flexibility, willingness to revise tactics, openness to new ideas, strategic patience. But it also requires clear internal compass, decision consistency, identity confidence. Confidence reduces panic-driven shifts. The infinite game perspective. If you are playing a short game, rigid wins are acceptable. If you are playing an infinite game, sustainability matters more than temporary dominance. Sustainable influence requires balance. Balance requires discipline. The strategic insight. In 2026, systems evolve quickly. Attention shifts rapidly. Technologies transform industries. If you resist change, you fade. If you chase every change, you fragment. Remain adaptive. But protect your doctrine. Protect your values. Protect your long-term mission. Because ultimate dominance is not about winning one era. It is about surviving multiple eras. Final reflection questions. What is your non-negotiable core? Are your adaptations aligned with your mission? Do you react emotionally to change? Can your identity survive technological disruption? Elite power is not rigid. Elite power is not chaotic. It is structured flexibility. Adapt constantly. Stand firmly. And remain strategically unbreakable.